Okay, I've had my 2010 Honda NT700 for almost 2 weeks now. It's a 2010, and here we are in November of 2023. So it's going to be 14 years old here pretty soon. But it only has 7,600 miles on it. Since new, I bought it from the original owner. Now, I have done some of the maintenance that I want to do. I've only been able to ride it 3 times over the past 2 weeks. And of course, I changed the oil, which is pretty straightforward. Just pull that drain plug right there, and there's the oil filter somewhere right in front of the pivot for the center stand. And I changed the final drive oil by pulling the plug and refilling it there. And of course I checked the tire pressures, and I have yet to put in new spark plugs and a new air filter. And I'm going to flush the brake fluid. It's very clean for being that old, but I guess it hasn't been cycling air by using the brakes in only 7,500 miles, so it didn't absorb a lot of water. But I want to put heated grips on. And I don't know about this thing, if that's stock or not, that throttle damper. I've never used one before. I like cruise control. I don't use it that much on my machines that have it. But I will have to do something to get the heated grips on here. I don't know, I have heated grips on, I put them on my Venture. I had them on my Goldwing. I put them on. But the plastic on this was getting a little oxidized, and you can tell the difference. Look inside there, beyond my finger. You see how that's lighter colored than this? I wiped this plastic down with a rust inhibitor called fluid film. I wiped this down. Pretty much all of the black plastic that looked like it needed it. And it made a difference. Didn't make a difference here though. I took the luggage rack off and the trunk off. The bags are big enough for me right now. I need to replace these bumper guards. The guy dropped it on both sides. And I'm glad to say that all the parts that got damaged in the tip over are still on the bike, which means that it wasn't that bad. One mirror got a little bit of scuffing on it. I guess they kick back. The mirrors on this are perfect. They're in the right spot. I get a good view of what's behind me, not just my elbows. Now this is plastic and this is metal. This is a magnetic tank bag. I have recently become a fan of the magnetic ones. I have it tethered to the bars, but I don't have to fight with any straps on gas stops. And you know what I like best about them is they don't slide around. I was always centering my tank bags, which I pretty much I like tank bags. I don't use one on my Venture, but on most of my bikes I've always had a tank bag. You know, for your sunglasses and your change of gloves and little bottle of water and chapstick and eye drops and your wallet and your phone, stuff like that. But anyway, this machine is pretty competent. Nice ride. I expected this to feel like a smaller bike. I bought it because of how popular the machine is with the European riders, and I feel that the European riders and the guys in England, they are more dependent on their motorcycles than we are here in the United States, simply because of the price of fuel over there. Those companies charging as much as they do, they don't even need a gun to charge that much. But this has an aftermarket windshield that has a slight upturn to it. Now the guy I bought the machine from said that this made a difference in the quality of the air. It wasn't buffing him, and I noticed that. This machine is happy up to about 75 miles an hour, and then you get into the harmonic vibration buzz of the engine. You can tell it's just not happy at that speed. I think the RPMs are under 6,000. Yeah, it's like 5,700 RPMs at 70 or 75 miles an hour, and that's where the engine becomes unhappy. Not as smooth as it is everywhere else. And I really like the wide ratio transmission because it is complemented by the broad power band. It doesn't have a concentrated little 500 or 1,000 RPM wide power band. When you shift, the RPMs drop way down, and it has the torque to torque its way through. It doesn't drop down out of the power and then, oh wow, I should have revved it higher. You know, they complement each other, the transmission ratios and the broad power delivery. Not like my Kawasaki Z400. Shift that a lot. The seat is great. It is great. I haven't had a chance to check the gas mileage yet. Now, I did a video when I first got it. I was out for a ride getting the oil hot. When I change my oil in my vehicles, I don't warm the car up for 5 minutes and then pull the plug. I ride the bike for at least an hour, or the truck for at least an hour, to stir up all that sludge and grit, gum, soot, acid, metal particles, and corrosion that tend to lay in the bottom of the engine in that sludge, and it stays there until you get it hot with some high-speed flow. And when I did take it out that day, this had a hesitation, and it did it about 10 or 15 times. Now, since then, I have had new fuel put in. Now, I don't know how old the fuel that was in the bike was. I checked the guy's maintenance log in his owner's manual, and the last time that he had the oil changed was 2015. So like I said, the bike didn't have many miles on it at all when I bought it. He just put new tires on, and they were new tires that were just put on because the DOT numbers indicate that those tires are from 2022. So they're not old new tires, they are new tires. But I don't know. The oil that came out was still, it looked like honey. It was not black. But the final drive oil, when it came out, it looked like it had molybdenum in it. Moly or whatever that stuff that my Moto Guzzi's in the owner's manual said to add 1 ounce of, they called it Rocol, to the final drive oil. And that was black, whatever that stuff was. I think it was moly, but they are the only manufacturer I ever ran into that wanted you to add that to put an additive in any oil. But that was black, and the engine oil was okay as far as color. and I ran the oil over a magnet as it was coming out of the engine, and I didn't have a lot of magnetic particles in it. And I didn't see any in my black oil pan. Sometimes it'll look like silver or gold metal flake laying in the bottom of the pan. That's why I use a black pan, to see if I can see anything funny looking in that oil. You know, you're always going to have clutch particles. You're always going to have aluminum particles from the clutch basket. Things like that flying around in there. But I didn't see, you know, nothing to make me nervous. I changed the oil in my Kawasaki KLR 650 one time, and there was a chunk that came out. It was the size of a peppercorn, and it was aluminum. Well, what the heck was that? Part of the piston? But anyway, that was a relief to see. Not too much debris coming out after, and that was hot oil. Now I'm going to put a set of real horns on this, and luckily I have this mounting bracket on the front of the engine that's not being used. I'll be able to put a bracket on there, and I'm going to put some real horns on there, which is going to require use of a horn relay and some heavier gauge wire, maybe some 12 gauge wire rather than the I don't know what size they use, 16, 18 gauge wire. That's why these horns aren't very loud. They can't get enough amps to them. You have to think of electricity the way you think of a hose, a garden hose. The larger the hose, the more water can flow. The larger the wire, the more current, the more amps can flow through the wire. So you have to, if you want loud horns, you have to up the size of the wire. So I'm going to mount real horns on this, change the air filter, new spark plugs, maybe heated grips, and I'm going to change the fork oil, not immediately, but over the winter here. It's going to hit us any day now. And I'm going to lubricate the steering head bearings. I've lubricated the kickstand and center stand, and I've wiped them down with fluid film because they looked like the bottom of that center stand pad there. But what a wonderful machine these are. Really a competent machine. It's light enough to be your city bike, and it's heavy enough and has a good enough seat, large enough gas tank, large enough saddlebags, especially with the trunk, to do a month-long tour. I don't know why it has speakers. I'm not at all into listening to music while riding a motorcycle. It's just personal preference. You can't really, I'm a guitar player, and you really can't hear the swishing on the fingers on the strings, or the subtle the sizzling of the hi-hat, or you know, the little, you know, when you have a great stereo at home, you can hear all those things. You can't hear that on a motorcycle. So I don't even bother trying. I'm really impressed with these turn signals. There are cars out there that don't have as large a turn signal. Let me turn them on for those who don't know these machines. Huh? Now that's a turn signal. These apparently don't have four-ways. I'm going to the guy had this power outlet here with a BMW style plug. I have the adapter for BMW. I had a K1200 LT at one time, but I'm going to put the standard plug for my Witter electric vest and electric gloves on there. And I have an adapter to plug in a cigarette lighter socket that I can power my tire repair kit pump, the 12-volt pump. I can charge my phone, I can charge my camera. I don't like having wires going across my controls to an outlet up here somewhere. So I'm going to transfer the power plug back to here so that I can put it under the seat when I don't need it. But anyway, I am really thrilled with this machine, and I really missed not having a center stand on my Venture and my Kawasaki Z400. They no center stand. That bothered me. Now I was going to use this pad here. This is made by Purple. That is a gel pad, not made for motorcycle. It's just a seat pad, I guess, for somebody stuck in a cubicle for 8 hours a day. And this gel, it's like gummy bears. The candy, it's so flexible. And that saved the stock seat, but I also have a Corbin on this. And that is nice and wide, much wider than that stock torture rack that these bikes come with. But I miss not having a center stand on this. Now I got one. Anyway, I am very impressed with this machine. I'm disappointed in myself for not checking them out when they were current. At the time, I had a Honda Pacific Coast that I commuted on for 25 years. On that Pacific Coast, I never even had a light bulb burnout. I rode that thing 5 and 6 and sometimes 7 days a week. I would be the guy you would see riding to work in moderate rain. And as long as they're not throwing salt on the roads for winter, I was riding. So that Pacific Coast was perfect for commuting my